Operation Warp Speed, like one of the great successes, I think, of American history. But nobody talks about it. Trump didn't campaign on it. Biden doesn't talk about it. Does that disappoint you? Did we learn nothing from that?
We learned that health can be heavily politicized. And we learned that it's in the forefront of the debate, particularly when things are polarized. And I think this is what is happening now. This is what happened during COVID. So everybody is thinking about COVID based on how that will help them politically or not.
But why aren't we warp speeding everything? I mean, you guys are making a big push into cancer, and I want to talk about the pipeline there in a minute. But in his last State of the Union, President Obama announced a cancer moonshot, handed it to then Vice President Joe Biden. Since then, we've seen what concerted government effort can do for drug development. Joe Biden is the president. Like, what got lost there? Why are we not warp speeding the thing you're trying to solve now?
Look, I think in cancer, I wouldn't say that a lot of things were lost because the progress that we have over years is tremendous. It's not that we have the cure, but people today are living longer and better lives than they were doing 10 years ago. But I think the really big revolutions in treating cancer are about to come. In the next decade, I think we will live a scientific renaissance, that it is driven not only by advancements in biology, but also in technology. AI is one of them. So I think we should be able to develop solutions for cancer that we couldn't even dream before.
It's an all-in bet for you right now. You just reorganized the company around it. You bought Seagen.
Yeah.
A lot of money, bought Super Bowl ad time, presumably for a lot of money. Talk a little bit about the pipeline there.
The Seagen acquisition was a bet, a significant bet, $43 billion bet, on basically one technology, which is called ADC, antibody-drug conjugate, and a company which was Seagen. The ADC, I think, what mRNA technology was for COVID vaccines, so very fast development of very effective vaccines, could be for cancer. The way that it works is that usually with cancer, we use, let's say, poisons, chemotherapy, right? So that is killing the cancer cells, but at the same time, unfortunately, it's killing the healthy cells. That's why I have all these side effects with chemo. But the idea of the ADC is that we will send the chemo only to the cancer cells. So you take the drug, which is the chemo, or anything else. You take the antibody, which is like a GPS-guided missile. You put the two together, and you send through the antibody the drug where you want. If you change the antibody, you can go from lung cancer to brain cancer to kidney cancer to bone cancer. And if you change the drug, you can have a nuclear warhead or a chemical warhead or a tactical weapon warhead based on what is the need. So it's a huge platform that I'm very, very optimistic that will deliver significant solutions.
I think you said in March that pipeline might have as many as 8 new blockbusters in it. You've been pretty coy, going to move the market. We're in the news business. Anything you want to tell us about the drugs you might have coming?
Well, we kept, since we spoke about it, I think we published data for several of our products that people got a sense. I mean, I would just mention 2 of them. One was coming from Seagen pipeline, and that was for bladder cancer, very difficult form of cancer that people are living usually 12 months, maybe 16, and that had, let's say, survival, not progression-free survival. It was almost 2.5 times. So it was significant. The other one we just announced, it is for a form of lung cancer that is doing metastasis in brain. And the drug that we announced, usually with all the standards of reference, the standards of care until now, people would live with that approximately 3 years after With this drug, we presented data that at 5 years, we didn't reach the median, which means that way more people were still not having progressed, not only alive, but without progression, not another metastasis of their disease, 5 years later. And I think when the data mature, will be 7 or something. So again, we will double the 3. We'll make it, let's say, 7 or 8 years. So these are significant improvements, because we may see it now and say, you know, it's 3 years. You know what is 3 years? It's what a father can see the graduation of the daughter or the wedding of the son, the most important thing in his life. So 3 years is a precious gift.
Pfizer was, you know, financially certain a star of the pandemic. Post-pandemic has been tougher. Stock's been way down, cutting a lot in cost. Talk a little bit about your expectations for the vaccine, for Paxlovid, but really for like the brain space and the economic space that the pandemic would kind of continue to occupy as it went on, versus, you know, frankly, how quickly a lot of people seem ready to move on.
Yeah, people want to move on, and of course, everybody wants to forget, and we can now, because we have vaccinated the population, and we have vaccines that are every year are new ones with a new variant that circulates, and we have medicines that treat it. So people, they don't die to the degree that they were dying before, but almost twice as many people are dying from COVID and flu right now. So COVID is not, hasn't disappeared. It is there. We've chosen not to speak about it to the degree that we were. The utilization of vaccines is way smaller than what I was expecting to be. I don't think that this will change dramatically over the next few years. If I can make a prediction, because a lot of people are not revaccinating, probably the immune protection of the population will wane a little bit, because still we have people that they only did the initial form. So the disease will start manifesting itself with more intense symptoms. But we have treatment that is working very, very well. So I don't think COVID will be a health scare at all. And now, for Pfizer, will be a significant, because you asked about the stock price, Pfizer will be a significant revenue stream, but nothing to do with what we were able to accomplish in the years of pandemic.
As of right now, I think you are not in the GLP-1 in the weight loss game. You had a pill that you've pulled, but can you afford to sit that out? And more broadly, like, what do you make of that gold rush? I mean, Novo Nordisk is now the biggest company, the most valuable company in Europe because of this.
Yeah. Look, I think the class of GLP-1s works very well. We have so far injectable products, and there are 2, Novo and Lilly, and they work. So people are losing weight. And if anything, all the data that are coming out are showing that there are significant health benefits in addition to people feel better. But also there are significant health benefits in multiple dimensions of this class. We had one that failed, which was going to be oral, the first one that will come oral. And now we have 3 different oral, not GLP-1s. 2 of them are GLP-1s, and one is a mechanism that we haven't disclosed yet publicly, but they are in the clinic. And
now is a great time.
And now is the great time to announce, right? I like you. So one of them, which is the one that always investors are asking, which is danuglipron, it's the most advanced of all. And we are now, in the middle of the year, are going to release data. If it works once a day instead of twice a day, that was significant for us. We haven't released that yet, so we will know soon.
But is everyone going to have one of these, and then the government's going to start negotiating on prices, and it's just going to be a thing? I don't know. Like, there's so much money coming in. There's so much, particularly investor enthusiasm about this.
Yeah.
How does this all shake out?
I think the trends will be what you predicted. So right now it's almost a duopoly, so it's very lucrative. if you have it. The class works, so there's no doubt. The demand will continue to be very strong. I don't think any doubt. But there are dozens of companies that are preparing products, competing products for this one. So when all of this hit the market, probably the prices will go down. It's a serendipity when you have situations like that.
Speaking of kind of Wall Street and how they're thinking about this, Pfizer's been on a 10, 15-year journey, has spun off a lot of slower growth divisions, animal health. I think consumer products is one of the first things you did was to move that off, drugs that have outlived their patents. I think to position itself as more of a growth company to investors, haven't gotten a lot of credit for it. Stock still trades basically at the same multiple it did 10 years ago. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. Look, the stock is trading, as you said, as 10 years ago, but in between, there was a jump to all-time high, which was almost double than what it is right now, actually higher than double of what it is right now. That was the time that we announced that Paxlovid, our oral medicine for COVID, also was successful. So the stock went extremely high and was maintained for a very long period of time at the 50s plus, 50 plus minus, let's say, level. Now it's 28.5, so significant drop. The drop happened all in the second part of last year. It happened very, very fast. I was surprised how fast it happened. And it was basically related to COVID. We had to take a lot of write-offs. We invested a lot of money to create an infrastructure that will provide vaccines and treatments to the entire world, because everybody was complaining. We need it, and it became politically sensitive, so we built everything we can do. But then the demand went really down, so we stayed with a lot of inventories and raw materials that we had to write off and take the hit. And also, of course, we stayed with the manufacturing and laboratory infrastructure that was there to support a way bigger business. So that's why we reduced the cost of the company, because COVID was not what it used to be. I think it's just, I'm very optimistic that the stock will come back, and I hope this year. And we had a very good quarter that the market responded very positively. And we are about to close this week the second quarter of the year, which we will announce in a month's time, and I'm optimistic that will be good. So we'll see how things go.
Okay. Very quickly, because I think you run the most global company of anyone we're going to hear from today. China's, I think, Pfizer's second biggest market. How do you think about that? How should a CEO running a multinational be thinking about, you have serious investments there, they're not going anywhere. How do you think about engaging with that business?
Look, China is a significant market, as you said, is the second largest for us, but plays even bigger role in things like supply chains. In the US, everything everybody is using almost is coming from China. In our case, it's not. So we have a lot of sales in China, but we are not sourcing a lot of raw materials from China for the products that we manufacture in the US or in Europe or in Asia or in other places. So from that aspect, we are a little bit protected. Also, although there is a lot of tension, geopolitical, and there is a lot of discussions if more tariffs will be implemented, which, it's who knows if that will happen. But typically, medicines are excluded from geopolitical tensions. You have Iran, but nothing can be sent there. Medicines you can send if they need, right? Russia, a lot of bans, not for medicines, right? So I think we are less affected by this type of geopolitical crisis. But of course, we are an iconic American company operating in China. If things are not good between US and China, we worry.
Yeah. Listen, we're out of time. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Albert. See you.